My name's Rank Cogdell. I live in Briscoe County in the Panhandle of Texas, and we ranch here in Palo Canyon of Texas, and it's low rainfall area where we live. About average is about 19 inches a year. I don't know when that year was because most of the time it's not that. So pretty tough ranching. Lots of usually run in this bottom of the canyon, 35 acres to the cow. Water's scarce. It's hard to find groundwater down here, and then dirt tanks, you're just dependent upon them when it does rain. So we depend on tank water a lot, and those are always issues, and having a really good quality of water. But then your grass too, like I say, it's hot summers, we have cold winters. It's a challenging place to ranch, but enjoy it here, and it's home. I've been on Riomax for 9 years. I was contacted years ago, and through lots of conversations, finally decided to give it a try. What I'd say that I've seen over the years is my breed back has improved greatly. To add to that, your calves get on the tubs with their mothers, and when you do wean them, then that's just one more thing to reduce stress. It's something they already know to do. Now, one thing I do is I still do use some pellets, cubes. I still cake my cattle because it's brushy and rough down here, and so to be able to see them, I still keep them coming in so where I can look at them, and that's another thing that makes it easier on the weaning, and my calves are on the cubes too. But the two together has worked for me. Whether it's the correct process or not, it's what's worked for me. I fed loose mineral for years, and wind blows just like we're fighting right now. The wind blows here all the time, and so it was pretty disheartening to buy a high dollar sack of mineral, put it out, and come back a day or two later and you bought a high dollar feeder to put it in with a flap over it, and then your minerals all out on the ground. So that's another convenience that I really appreciate. I used the tubs for a couple of years, kind of did my own trials, which is tough down here because your water situation is a long ways apart, so you don't really know the number of cows you'll have. It's not a static number, they move around. So its consumption was hard to know for sure, and so I kind of did a test with other brands of tubs and did notice the consumption is something I've never questioned. After I was able to somewhat determine, just through one pasture number of cows, I was able to determine consumption pretty close, and that's not been a question that I've had. It was at the beginning, but other tubs that eat 2 to 1, if not more, and I quit using it for a while, to be honest, because of the cost difference. I thought, well, I could go back to the other one, and I'd done a test with some 2-year-old heifers, first calf heifers, and I put them on the Riomax, and across the fence on similar country had put 3-year-olds on a brand B. And calves, it was a good year, got a lot of rainfall that year, grass was good. Wasn't able to tell a huge difference in some things on the onset, and just thought, well, I'd probably get away from it. And but as I looked back and took a little more time studying, my first calf heifers bred back actually better than my 3-year-olds did, which in this country is very hard to do, is get your first calf heifers bred back good. So the next year, after I kind of got to thinking about that, and I got to noticing, the very first thing I really noticed is the hair coat. It was just a rougher hair coat. The cows didn't look quite as shiny, and their health wasn't quite as good. And then I noticed, I'm not going to say it fixes all of it, but I did, in this country, we lack of a lot of minerals, different things, and retain afterbirth was something typical you can see down here. And I don't know for sure, but that really diminished a bunch. Eye troubles seemed to, just overall health, I could see it, when I quit it, I could see a little bit of change. So I went back and pretty much have just been on it ever since. This day and age with fuel and pickup repair, this is rough and it's hard on vehicles and creeks and rivers that we cross. And the fact that you can bring a tub, put it out, and just come back in a couple of weeks and put tubs back out, and you're not down here quite as often. We've tried to advance our ranching as the challenges you face with just what's happening in the world, the cost of vehicles and gas and everything else. I've gone from feeding 2 to 3 times a week cubes to putting the tubs out and jump on a side by side or something and make circles quicker, and where they don't tear up as bad. It's just another way of advancing ranching. When I started 9 years ago, I don't even know where the next closest person was. I don't have the slightest idea. And they'd say, well, what do they cost, and well, they're a little pricey, Yeah, it was a sticker shock, and I was embarrassed as, it's kind of like seeing a Bigfoot, if you won't believe what I saw the other day, you don't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody what I was paying for these tubs. You have to look at your cost per head per day to break it down to convince yourself of it. But it's kind of like you'd get 4 pallets in, and you're looking over there and you know what that costs, and you look at a Dodge pickup over here that was used for the same price, and you're kind of going, which one was money going to be best for? I had to convince myself pretty regular. About every time I had to order it, I was going, what am I doing? But I've stuck with it, and to this point right now, I'm still feel like it's the right thing to do for my operation. The number one thing I guess that keeps me coming back is my breed back. And I've got neighbors around me that don't use it, and you're always talking to your neighbors, what's your breed back like this year, and there's typical country all around. So I think when I know that my conception was better than my neighbors, all you have to do is say that you're 2 or 3% better, or know that you're 2 or 3% better, to where you can justify it. I feel like my cow health is good and my conception's good, so that's bottom line. Ain't broke, don't fix it. So anyway, I've been pleased with the product and still using it today.